Welcome to What's Up, Bolts? I'm Fernando Ramirez. That cowboy hat, Don, and sunglass wearing son of a gun is Dan and Dago. We are here. It has been a whirlwind. I know we're about 2 days a little bit late, but we wanted the dust to settle. Undrafted free agents, draft picks, all that settled in. Then obviously I was on Monday. If you saw my Twitter, I was at the Padre game covering Fernando Tatis Jr. returning to.
You do it all, Frown. You're a utility, man. You do it all. Swiss Army knife, baby.
I tried to. I was covering his return to the Padres after 592 days or 82 days with suspension, with injury. So make sure you go check that out on the Sporting Tribune. I would greatly appreciate it. But we're here. We're talking Chargers draft. Obviously, the draft is now done. Great job. They put on a good show in Kansas City. Now it's obviously time to see how these draft picks are going to go, what kind of draft picks did the Chargers get and everything. So Dan and Dago and I will be going through that today. But Dan, how are you doing?
I'm excellent for now, but you know what's the only thing that sort of saddens and disappoints me? That you have not yet noticed the Easter egg on my chest. Look at this. I got the original OG prototype. I found this right now as we were about to record because I was in my adult clothes for work, and I got the OG prototype right here. I'm never getting rid of this one. It was honestly one of my favorites, even though you guys didn't like it too much.
That's funny. Yeah, I know. I noticed that as soon as, and I was going to mention it, but I just out. No, I noticed that. I mean, it was the original COMPAS on the Beat logo, t-shirt.
Hey, that's how true I've been at day one.
Well, I mean, you kind of have been with the program from day one. I mean, what, maybe a month in, 2 months in, you jumped on. So, so you've been with us every step of the way. And again, guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but we did reach 1K on COMPAS on the Beat on that page. So make sure you go over there, comment on the new episode of COMPAS on the Beat. We appreciate you guys so much. We will be giving out a hat, a t-shirt, a hat, a hoodie, and a sticker. So make sure you go over there.
You're about to add something
on the video.
Gonna be pissed.
I know. Go over there. Make sure you comment on the video, for a hoodie, a sticker, and a hat. And hey, let's try and get this page to 1,000. Who knows? Maybe you guys can have lunch with Dan and Dago if we reach 1,000. So, hey, I know plenty of people that would love to have lunch with Dan and Dago. Right. So. Oh, I know. Karen 100% would. I'm sure Danny, Jeff Miller, our compa, he would definitely put it.
Dude, Jeff Miller and I were in Vegas slamming him back, dude. Like, we've already been through it together.
Definitely. But hey, let's try and get this page up to 1,000. Obviously, we're going to be bringing you guys great content this season. We might be having a guest pretty soon, so make sure you're on the lookout for that. Some good stuff going on, definitely. But all right, let's get into it now. Chargers, obviously, Dan, Dago, and I broke down, and if you guys want to go see the full video of that, make sure you go check it out. Dan, Dago, and I broke down the first round draft pick of the Chargers, Quinton Johnston. We'll get into a little bit of him right now, but obviously we won't spend too much time on him just because Dan, Dago, and I we've had a couple of days more now to kind of realize and see and analyze everything. And honestly, Dan, I think they in my opinion, I thought they made the correct pick in a sense. Like, I know some people were kind of like, oh, well, there was this, there was Zay Flowers, the thing is that they have a prototypical type, and they weren't going for a gadget, not a gadget. Well, yeah, they weren't going for a gadget player or receiver. They were going for a guy that in the future can be a number one and take over when it's time. And that's what I feel like they think they're getting in Quinton Johnston. They feel like they're getting a number one, maybe number two. Who knows? We don't know yet because obviously we haven't seen them. But they're thinking that they're drafting for the future. They're getting a future number one or number two receiver. And they feel like he can come in, he can help, he can learn. There's some negatives that he has. He catches the ball. He tries to catch the ball with his body. That can be taught. His route running's it's not as crispy as it should be. Hey, guess who you're coming in with? You're coming in with Keenan Allen, one of the best route runners in the NFL. You're going to learn off of that. So I think what they did is they got themselves a future number one receiver. It not just a gadget player. And I feel like that's why people were like, well, why didn't you go get this guy? The thing is, the Chargers they're thinking about right now, but they're also thinking about the future. And that's why I think they got him. The guy's electric. The guy has a high motor. He literally has everything that the Chargers are that the Chargers coaching staff looks for when it comes to wide receivers. I mean, right here you can see it. Well, that one was tipped and then he caught it. Yeah, Oklahoma. Jesus, what kind of? I wouldn't have put that in a highlight, but like you see right here, he goes up and he makes that kind of grab. Yeah, like so the kid is talented and he's got game. Dan, I don't know what you think, but I think
he's also got some elusive traits. Like right here, he gets away from somebody. So that's what I was noticing, and I think that's like what we talked about is the biggest need that they had to begin with is a yak guy.
And then his stiff arm is nasty too.
Exactly, and it's like that's the thing they've been missing. Like Mike and Keenan, you'll get sometimes where they're just in open space like that and they can run with it, but it's not really like them making guys miss and stuff like that. And I think that's what they've been missing. That's what they want. And also Palmer, in my mind, he kind of does a little bit of the same of both of them, where he'll get grabs, but he's not really a yards after contact guy or whatever. So that's why I think, maybe, and it's like we talked about last time, what we alluded to, maybe they're trying to get back to that, core of, three guys who are pretty tall and massive, even though like Josh Palmer's a little bit 6'2", but he's a little bit thicker than I think Quinton Johnston is. And you remember Tyrell Williams was pretty, he was like slimmer on the slimmer side, but he had that elusive trait. He had that speed. He had a little bit of everything. So I think
he could go down the field and burn guys.
And he could also do intermediate routes and stuff like that. He had good hands. But, I'm not going to get into it a lot because we got into it last time and I don't want to beat a dead horse. So I think really that's what they're trying to get back to, like we talked about last time. Three different receivers, two who do different things, and one who kind of does a little bit of both to complement the others very well.
I think that's what they also want him to be able to do, go down the field and make grabs down the field. Maybe the way kind of Mike Williams does. But it's going to be tougher. Man, I'm telling you, though, I don't know if that's a prerequisite at TCU, but having a nasty stiff arm, LT had it. This guy.
Dude, you remember he used to rip off helmets like that.
Oh, my God. But, like, look at that. Like, literally put it right on the money for him. So, I really do think that this kid is I think he'll be good. Like I said, I've heard either this kid's going to be like a Devontae Adams or he's going to be a Darius Hayward-Bay. So, it seems like his skill set should translate to the Chargers. The Chargers have done a great job with receivers in the past. We all know Malcolm Floyd, undrafted free agent. A guy like I'm going to throw people back with this one. Denario Alexander, if you guys remember, he had like 2 or 3 torn ACLs, comes to the Chargers, ends up playing really well for a year or two. Then obviously he had more knee injuries, and it was sad to see. But he was good. Remember, Keenan Allen was not liked at the beginning. Keenan Allen was, and he was in the back of the line when he first got drafted. Mike McCoy did not want him playing, and all of a sudden, Malcolm Floyd goes down against the Eagles, and here comes Keenan Allen, and Keenan Allen starts making some noise. So yeah, there's gonna be the Chargers have done a good job of developing receivers in the past, and I think this is going to be another one of those that they're going to have to take their time, but I feel like if they develop this guy, I think he's going to be a good receiver, and I think he's really going to help this offense out, especially this season where you're facing some tough teams. I mean,
real good teams. We saw a schedule when it came out.
Yeah, so and supposedly that's going to be May 11th when the schedule comes out. But let's see right here, Dan. Let me put this up for you.
Or the opponents, then my bad. We saw the opponents.
It was the opponents, but here are the opponents. You're going to your divisional opponents, but at home you have Buffalo, Miami, Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, and Dallas. Dan, that's a pretty good home schedule. Like that's season ticket worthy, to be honest. Then away you go to the New England. Man, that one will be.
You better stop disrespecting Bill Belichick, guy. I'm not gonna put up with it anymore.
Look at this, Dan. Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers.
In the
Discount
same
double check.
season. Yeah,
You
for
get to
real.
face both of them away. Minnesota and Tennessee.
Do you have it? Do you have it?
No, I do not actually.
Ah,
But I can acquire it.
yeah, the sound, dude. You gotta do it.
I have it.
It's almost weird when you don't now.
Minnesota!
There you go. Now we can get back to business. Sorry for the distraction, everyone.
But basically, there's the
Titans also. The Titans are a physical team, no matter if they're playing well or not.
Exactly. So they're basically the opponents that you're gonna have to go up against right there already. The Jets and the Patriots, two of the best defenses in the NFL. Remember the Patriots, they had a similar thing that happened to them that happened with the Chargers and Derwin James. Fell right into their lap in 2018. Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback out of Oregon, 6'2", aggressive. He's very good. He fell into the Patriots' lap at 17 this year, so that kid may be a steal. Green Bay's defense is tough. The Broncos have a tough defense. I think Kansas City's defense, they're starting to build something there with young players. I feel like they're going to only get better. Baltimore usually has a tough defense.
That's they're in their identity.
Buffalo and Miami should present a problem because they have some tough defenses, but there you have it. I mean, it's gonna be a tough stretch. So you're gonna need a playmaker like him. It's funny, I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was Daniel Jeremiah or who it was, but they said the Chargers are just looking to outscore everybody.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's what
it is. The other thing is, I don't think you can afford slow starts either with this type of schedule. I said you can't afford slow starts either with this type of schedule.
No, I said you can't.
Oh, I thought you said my bad.
No.
You're gonna need to start off well and start off fast. Like you can't get into some 0-4, 1-3, or that type of range because
you're gonna
it's gonna
have
be
to
tough. I said you can't get into the 0-4, 1-3 range to start off the season because that's going to be a tough hill to climb because a lot of these teams have gotten better.
But you say you have to start off what?
You have to start off fast. Like
you
can't start off. You're an idiot. Here I thought you're freaking deaf over there now. Here I thought my mic was muted or something. You were just trying to set me up. Whatever.
Set you off.
That's what she said.
You're an idiot. How about that's what she said also?
And now go Chargers, go.
Yeah, we'll see. They got to start off fast, dude. That's all I'm going to say before you try and set me up again for another one of those little soundboard things.
Oh, no. We suck again.
Well, are you trying to like predict the future now? Like, what is it?
No.
What are you trying to do with that thing?
No, but obviously, so that's basically the schedule. You're gonna have to be able to score, put up points against those teams. And the thing is, you saw, and that's what I was saying on COMPAS on the Beat. If you guys check it out, COMPAS on the LA Beat with Gilbert, that's what I was telling him. You're gonna be facing some tough defenses. And last year, remember what happened to the Chargers? They had no receivers at one point. You had Michael Bandy, DeAndre Carter, and Josh Palmer. Damn, they went up to San Francisco. They challenged the 49ers. They went toe-to-toe with them, even without those receivers. Imagine if Justin Herbert would have had those receivers. The Chargers might have beat them. Then Kansas City comes here. Mike Williams gets hurt on the third or fourth drive of the game. And in the first two drives, they had scored touchdowns or something. Or in the first three drives, they had scored 2 touchdowns. They were up like 14-0. Imagine if Mike doesn't get hurt in those. And then obviously at the end, when Mike got hurt against Denver and he couldn't go against Jacksonville. But that's the thing. A healthy nucleus might have meant a different season for the Chargers.
Yep.
And they don't want to get caught with that again. So they're going to want to have healthy receivers. So the outlook right now, the Chargers look like they have a way better receiving group this year than they had at any point last year. So, and then you're adding some of these undrafted free agents that could challenge Jalen Guyton. They could challenge Darius Davis. They could challenge some of these guys for a spot. But okay, let's move on now to Tuli Tuipulotu.
Sorry if we butchered your name, guy.
No, I did not butcher it.
Okay.
Tuipulotu. I call him Tuli. So Tuli's a guy out of USC who was a high motor guy. He's a passer. He's an edge rusher. That's what the Chargers said. Chargers said that he's going to be an edge rusher for them. They believe that he could be a very good player for them, and he has the juice. I mean, the guy literally in his sophomore year, he had 7 sacks. He jumped up to almost, I think it was 13 and a half his sophomore year, his junior year. And you ask him what changed, and then he's like, oh, my positional coach really helped me this season. And then he also gave credit to the defense. I know people thought our defense was garbage or bad, but I truly believe that we had some playmakers, and that's what I was able to do. And if you notice in this film, it's not just him sacking the quarterback; it's him also helping on run support, doing different things. Which that was one of the knocks on him, that they don't know how much he's going to be able to set the edge. Well, hey, you have 2 pass rushers you're going to be able to learn from that know how to set the edge with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. So he should learn a thing or two from them, because both of those guys know exactly how to help with their they know how to help their defense with and stopping the run. So I really do think that Tuli was needed, because again, the same thing that happened with the receivers happened with the pass rush last year, where Joey Bosa went out and the Chargers didn't have another pass rusher to help them. They had Chris Rumpf yet has not developed. Then you had Kyle Van Noy. It took Kyle Van Noy a little bit. I mean, it took him most of the season, but then at the back end of the season, he really got it going, and he was sacking the quarterback. He was rushing the quarterback almost at will at times. I remember that Indianapolis Colts game, he was in the backfield almost the whole game. So I know Tom Telesco said they don't know if they're going to bring him back because they drafted some guys, but I think that'd be a mistake. If I was a Charge, I'd bring him back to really get him obviously in the back in the building. You want his leadership.
He earned it.
That he is. Huh?
I said, especially because he earned it. He earned another contract with how well he played last year and everything else. And I think the most important thing, you touched on it about Tuli Frau, he's versatile. They can move him inside. They can do different things with him. That way, on pass rushing downs, it's not a must-have that, they move Bosa inside or whatever. They can still try and keep Bosa and Mack on the edge to get one-on-ones and have competent pass rushing guys inside. And that's the thing. It's like the more versatile you make yourself, where you're good in the run game, the pass game, and everything else, the more attractive you're going to be to teams and the more snaps you earn, quite frankly, point blank. And the guy looks like he has a high motor also. He does not stop running in any of these highlights. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they do. I bet you they're hoping lightning strikes twice. Didn't Chenna come from USC also? Yeah, there you go. So they're hoping lightning twice.
No, and the thing is that obviously this kid, I think coming out of USC, he might be better than Chenna was. But
he's bigger, I think.
Yeah, he's bigger. But that's the thing too, is that at one point, I mean, and I know that their favorite lineup in a perfect world would be on third down, it would be Khalil, Morgan Fox, Joey, and Tuli all rushing the quarterback. So definitely that's something to look at. And I definitely think that this kid can learn a lot. And, Joey pulls guys off to the side. And I've seen it at training camp. He grabs guys and he's like, hey, and he goes on the dummy and he's like, look, do this, swipe this way, move your hips this way. So I definitely think that Tuli's going to learn a lot from Joey and from Khalil. And, oh, my bad. So Quinton Johnston, what I gave it a B.
Yeah.
What would you give it?
I don't do grades for now. I already told you I reject the draft. I'm just going through it. I reject it. I'm not a fan of it.
With Tuli, I think I gave it a B plus. I think I gave him a B plus. So I'm gonna go Quinton Johnston B, B plus. Question mark for Dan and Dago on Quinton Johnson. Question mark Tuli from Dan and Dago. So
exactly. I think this is one thing I will say. I think they drafted at exactly the right positions that they needed to add depth to the squad. And I don't mean position by what number in the draft. I mean position like receiver, edge, linebacker, tackle, and stuff like that. I think they drafted all the right, the quarterback one, little, maybe we could have taken someone else, or sorry, the Chargers could have taken someone else. But I think for the most part, they drafted really well the position groups.
We'll get into that at the end. Deon Henley was drafted. Deon Henley was drafted third pick from Washington State. Dan, you should have seen it. So Tuli and Deon, because they were both in LA, they both came in together the second day and they took pictures and everything and did all that with the jerseys and did press conference. But we like they were both talking trash to each other and we're like, do you guys know each other? And they're like, no, we just barely met right now. But they were talking trash because Deon at one point he was at Nevada as a safety, and he transitioned to linebacker, and then he decided to hit the portal, and he wanted to go somewhere else, and he had a chance to go to USC. And we asked him, why didn't you go to USC? He's like, because Tuli's there. I didn't want to go with him, and you just start laughing. But they were talking trash back and forth, like, and they were already chummy, so that was pretty cool to see that they were already liking each other. But Henley is a guy who's very athletic. He is just a freak of. He played quarterback in high school. He played receiver. I think they said he played a little bit of running back. Then he goes to college. He's played safety. He's played slot, corner, and now he's playing linebacker. And it just feels like this is the next evolution. Like it was Kaiser White, Drew Tranquil, and now it's Henley. And he looks. I mean, if you see his stuff. He just looks athletic. He does a lot of the things. Yeah. Damn, this is Dalton Kincaid, who he's guarding right here at the top right here. Yeah. He's guarding Dalton Kincaid, who went to the Buffalo Bills. Watch him right here.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. When I was watching this, I was like, damn, like another guy who's versatile, who can help in the run game, tackle, and he had great cover skills. And now it makes sense that you said he was like a safety / DB. So
that's what I asked. And that's what I asked. Because I mean, honestly, with most of these, I like to ask more for Brandon. I like to hear more from Brandon Staley because obviously he's the coach and everything. But I'm like, Brandon, what did you think about his instincts? And he's like, the thing is, he's played in so many positions that he sees the field differently than most players do. So I feel like he's going to see it a lot differently than any of us and any of his teammates. So he's like, the kid's an athletic freak. He's big. He's strong. He's like, and I really do think that he's going to help us out. Now, the reason why I graded him I think I gave him an A-. I would have given him an A, but they're talking about him just being a special teamer. And I don't know if that's to save Kenneth Murray's. Look at that. He even caught a fake.
They can use him in Matlock or what's his name?
But
I don't know if they're offensive snaps.
I don't know if they're trying to save. Oh my God. I don't know if they're trying to save.
That writing's on the wall. They didn't pick up his 5th-year option, right?
Well, yeah, but I don't know if they're trying to save him or whatever it is. But they're like, oh no, we're just gonna use him at on special teams. And I'm like, how could you say you're just gonna use him on special teams? Like the kid looks like he can play. And then I thought to myself, like, okay, say that this kid comes in and he ends up playing well during training camp. Think about it also. He's going to be learning from Eric Kendricks. I feel like that was another reason why the Chargers drafted him. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Eric Kendricks, the way he flies around, the way he moves around. Remember, Eric Kendricks has like 20 sacks, like 13 interceptions, like just a solid amount of all-around statistics, which is obviously impressive from Eric Kendricks. I feel like with Eric Kendricks, he's going to learn a lot, and I wouldn't be surprised if Henley wasn't starting at one point of the season. But as of right now, Tom and Brandon both said he's a special teams player. But I feel like if this kid really is because Chris Sims said he's my steal of the draft. Like other guys have come out, and I know you don't like that. A lot of guys have come out and said that he's my steal of the draft. And the thing is, if he really is a steal of the draft, he ends up being what he's being. I'd be surprised if he's not starting halfway through the year, unless Kenneth Murray's really taking his game to that next level. But this kid just seems athletic. He seems fast. He seems like his instincts are right there. Now the only thing is going to be can what he does translate to the NFL, and will it translate as smoothly as other linebackers than in the past? But I was just very impressed so far with him as not only a player but his personality. I mean, we got to talk to him. He was funny. He was energetic. He calls himself the White Ranger. So right there, he already he kind of won you over. Yeah, so
you didn't pull out your Morpher, Frau?
Oh, we both probably have one. So, but I don't know what you saw from him. I don't know what you think.
No, honestly, I think the whole reason why they're probably trying to say he's a special teamer and everything else, he was a 3rd-round pick, right? Yeah, he was 3rd-round pick. They're trying to, in my mind, if I was in, Staley's shoes and them, I'm trying not to put too much pressure on him because I know what I have, and the tape shows it. It's like I want him to come in as relaxed as possible. He can work his way. He can do his growing pains. Hopefully in preseason he can take his, welcome to the NFL moment, and then it just goes up from there, right? So that's the reason why, like, I would try and protect a lot of these guys by doing that, by just not expecting them to start right away. That's how I would kind of have the mindset where it's like, I understand, like, for instance, I understand the whole let's sit Justin the year he came in as a rookie, because, like, of course, you don't want to stunt his growth by throwing him in right away. So I think typically that's what they're probably trying to do right now, because you already see the writing on the wall that they didn't pick up Kenneth Murray's 5th-year option. So what's going to happen? Who knows? Unless he has a breakout year, that one kind of might be kind of self-explanatory.
No, and I completely get it. I mean, the Chargers have shown, and Brandon Staley has shown, that linebackers expendable when it comes to his
System,
defense. Yeah. If you look at it, Drew Tranquil's now gone.
Yeah.
Kaiser White is gone. Even though he brought in a more expensive and more experienced Eric Kendricks, but I still feel like the Chargers, obviously they're gonna have control over this kid's contract for 4 years.
Yeah.
So, but
I think
I'm just saying,
I think the only thing that worries me or that's interesting to me is that if I remember right, Drew was also a converted safety to linebacker, right?
Yeah, he was.
That's so interesting to me that, you kind of have that situation already and you choose to move on, but then you draft another one similar, like in that story sense, because probably
I don't know about
athletic and everything else.
I don't know about similar. This guy's a lot more athletic and can
I know, but
around.
I'm talking about in the sense of
and
size.
Supposedly he can cover tight ends.
I'm talking about in the sense of size, though. Is like they kind of have similar trajectories and everything else. They don't look too far away from each other size-wise. So obviously, probably the athleticism plays a key. I'm just saying it's interesting that they kind of moved on for it, and here they bring in another linebacker who's a converted safety.
Okay, so definitely let's I give that an A- just because I really do think that the kid's gonna be special. I think he's aggressive. That's another thing, they liked his aggression. That's what Brandon Staley was talking about. He's like, I think he's really aggressive. And so obviously aggression sometimes means flags or stuff like that, but I feel like this kid may be able to keep his nose clean and play good ball. But now let's move on to Darius Davis from TCU, the second out of 3 players of the Chargers selected from TCU, the Los Angeles Horned Frogs.
Exactly.
So definitely is some interesting stuff to see from him. So this was the interesting part. So I went and I started doing my research on him and everything, and I saw that he had amassed 500 receiving yards in both seasons. And I asked him, I'm like, have the Chargers spoken to you about maybe playing offense? And he said, no, not really. It was mainly about returning. And I asked Brandon and Tom, yeah, it was mainly about returning. And I'm like, could you see him in the offense? And Tom goes, well, as of right now, no. And I'm like, really? Like, because I was watching his film and I saw his stats. He had over 500 receiving yards the last 2 years, jet sweeps, everything that you can end arounds, anything that you could name, he has done. And he looked fast. He looked like he could take the top off of the defense. And I was just really impressed with him on that side. Now, when it comes to returning, well, obviously the kid's fast. He has like a 4.36 40. He's fast, he's aggressive, he knows how to play the game. So I think he's going to be a very good returner for the Chargers. And and Brandon Staley was even asked if they were thinking about bringing in another returner to compete with him, and I think he said that this is his job, that they really like him, they like what he brings, they think that he's very he could be one of the best returners in the NFL. And you saw it in college. I think he had like 8 or 9 touchdowns, 7 or 8 touchdowns, kickoff and kick return and everything. So maybe this is the weapon that is athletic and helps the Chargers. Remember too, that obviously Ryan Fick and the Chargers special teams coach, he came in last year and he really did a good job with the special teams. He helped the special teams grow. They did a lot better than they had in years past. And and I really do think that he knows exactly what he's doing. Obviously, he knows exactly what he's doing, but I really do think that he could help this Chargers special teams grow even more. And what did he need? He needed a returner, and now the Chargers got him that returner. So that's definitely going to be interesting to see how they continue to grow. But I really do think that I thought this was a little bit of a reach, just because I thought that maybe the Chargers could have like gotten him maybe later, because I think he was predicted to be a 5th or 6th round draft pick, but he ends up going in the 4th. So I'm not mad at it. I'm not like, oh wow, like they should have chosen him, because it was a need and they had a need and they decided to go get this guy. And honestly, if he scores 3 touchdowns this year or 4 returning, who's gonna care about what draft selection he was? But I gave it a C+, just because thought it was a little bit of a reach, but definitely a kid who can burn and take the top off of the defense.
Yeah, it was definitely a solid move, because if anything, like you saw last year, he could be used in that DeAndre Carter type situation.
Well, that was a necessity. I don't think they wanted.
I know, but that's the thing though. Look what happened when they actually put him in there and started giving him reps. He started producing, and he was one of their best deep threats when Mike and Keenan went out. So that's all I'm saying is, like, when you get these guys, you know, I personally, I find it really weird that they'd only ask him about returning kicks. I guess that's just me. Call me old fashioned. Because you're drafting essentially a returner and he played receiver. So it's like, why wouldn't you, even think about giving him reps? Because obviously you never know what you have. You could have a hidden gem and no one even know it. So that's definitely going to be interesting. But, solid again, because like I said, you never know. He could be another type of DeAndre Carter player where he does both for you.
So obviously moving on, this I'm going to let Dan and Diego take it away, because obviously Jordan McFadden from Clemson, I could do as much as I can by telling you guys, oh, this X, Y, and Z. Now, the only thing that jumps out to me is that this kid seems like a Jamari Sawyer 2.0, where the Chargers are going to probably kick him inside, but he can come outside if need be. He looks like a guy that can really do a good job and a serviceable job as a backup, because that's what it feels like he's going to be right now. But at the same time, you need your backups to be very good. And if the Chargers are able to hit a home run with this kid, then they have a very good backup to a starter. So they selected Jordan McFadden in the 5th round out of Clemson. Like I said, he played both tackle positions. I think he only gave up 2 quarterback hits or something like that in the 3 years that he started. He started over 1,500 snaps, and in those 1,500 snaps, he only allowed, I think, 2 quarterback pressures or something like that. So the kid is legit. He can play. He's going to be I think he's really going to help this offensive line out. I'm sure he's going to come in and try and compete, but I think it's going to be hard to knock off one of the 2 guards. But I definitely think that they're gonna like him at depth, and he could be a guy that, obviously, like I said, they can kick him out. He could play either tackle position, but Dan, just go through what you thought about him and some of the notes that you might have taken from him.
Yeah, real quick. What I really liked and what I loved is that in the pass pro, he's very patient. Like, you can kind of see it there where he's waiting for the edge rusher to come to him. That's crucial when you're playing tackle position at all times. You cannot be in a hurry to get in there and size up with these edge rushers, because that's what they want you to do. They want you to throw your move so then they can do their move, which is either, dip and rip, club and rip, whatever you want. The other thing he has good feet. You could tell when he's in his pass pro, his feet are moving the whole time, which I really like that right there. He's moving the whole time. He's patient. The only thing sometimes I wish he would do is sometimes it looks like his arms are outside the shoulders instead of inside the breastplate. That's the only thing sometimes that would worry me if I was his offensive coordinator or coach or whatever, because obviously when you have it outside, it's going to look like holding to a lot of these. And we've seen how officiating's been the past few years, so better not to give him a reason. But look how his feet are just chopping the whole time there. Another thing that I sort of, didn't like or had a problem with, I think in his pass pro, he reminds me a little bit of Orlando Franklin, because he's so big. He's like 6'2", 304. because he's so big, he uses his size to his advantage, which is good. But the problem is he lets guys get under him. So like they'll get under him, back him up a little bit, and then it's kind of he's pretty close to the quarterback slap, which makes me feel uncomfortable because what you want those types of guys to do is be a brick wall. But imagine how much harder it would be to push them back, in a bull rush or whatever, if he was under their shoulders, because that's the key to the game. So like you said, Brown, I like this move. He looks solid. So it's going to be definitely interesting, because last year you already saw the anomaly that the Chargers had, because you lose essentially an all-pro left tackle. You should feel the difference, or you should be able to see the beat being skipped. And last year Jamari Sawyer did an incredible job that essentially landed him a starting role now just inside at guard. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But overall, I really did like what I saw so far in the tape from this guy. I hope, honestly, I have a couple days during Hell Week or whatever where I can trot up to training camp and watch him in person to see what he looks like against NFL talent, because obviously everything's a lot different.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. And the other thing, too, is that the Chargers need depth, and they haven't had that depth at offensive line in a long time.
Exactly.
That's what I was telling people. I can't remember where I said it, but the Chargers haven't had this in a long time, a good offensive line. That's why I give kudos to Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley said it. When I came in here, I wanted to fix the offensive line. That's why they went out and got Zion Johnson, Rashawn Slater. They re-signed Trey Pipkins. They brought in Corey Linsley, who had a run-in with Staley. So Staley wanted to fix this offensive line. I think he really has. 4 out of their 5 guys are drafted guys that they brought in. Now you need the depth. You need guys behind them that are going to be able to help and step up in case you need it. We've seen it. I mean, and honestly, I'm going to call it out. The difference between Will Clapp and Corey Lindsey is huge. Yep. So obviously, it's going to be interesting to see kind of what happens there. Braden Hummus, we haven't even seen him play yet. So
yeah.
So some of these guys are skipping him. So he's not guaranteed a roster spot this upcoming season. So I'm just saying, I think that they've done such a good job with the offensive line. Like I said, they haven't had an offensive line like this in a long time. I don't even know if the 2006 offensive line compares, because I mean, you had at center Nick Hardwick, you have Marcus McNeil at left tackle, you have Shane Olivier at right tackle, you have Mike Goff at right guard, and at left guard you have God.
What a memory.
No, hold on. At left guard you have oh my God, his name escaped me. Chris Dielman. So so I mean, you have that offensive line was very good. I think this one might be a little bit better, but that one just had LT, and LT was just all over the
place. Made everybody right. He made everybody right.
Exactly. So
and the thing is, it's like we go back to versatility is the name of the game. If this guy can play tackle and guard, he's already going to elevate himself, period, in the freaking roster rankings and everything like that. And then you've seen sometimes they like to bring in extra offensive linemen, but unfortunately the extra offensive lineman has been worse than the other guys who were already in there, and they haven't been able to hold blocks or
well, if you're talking about who you're talking about, he left. So
well, I'm just saying we got to know our personnel. What is it? KYP? Yeah, KYP, Frown. Know your personnel. And maybe they can do that with him. And because he has a good pop, he can move get to the second level and eat up these linebackers. He's pretty athletic. So, like I said, I liked it. You already know me. I like talking about Hogs. I love talking offensive line.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna like talking about this next guy. Well, I gave that pick, I think, a B+. So,
of course, he's a lineman. You get all excited for these skill players, Frown. You know what?
What are you talking about? I gave him a higher grade than I did Quinton, Johnston, and
really? Who'd you give an A to? Oh yeah, that's right. The only A was Henley,
linebacker. Yeah, Henley.
Yeah.
Now let's look at this guy. This guy, I think fans are gonna get so excited for. Scott Whitlock from Boise State. By the way, it was so funny. He called.
It's Whitlock, not Matlock.
Matlock. You're so right. I'm so sorry.
I was about to say I messed that up earlier, and you didn't tell me.
No, that's me. That's all me. My bad. He was talking about how because he was asked about Kellen Moore, and he's like, oh, that's the goat. That's the goat. That's the goat. So definitely funny to hear him say that. But Dan, this is him getting interviewed by a local news station, and I'm sure you're gonna like what you are gonna hear.
I mean, they're gonna get a straight up killer. I mean, when I put the helmet on, it's a gladiator going into the Coliseum, you know. So I'm coming for souls. I mean, I'm gonna take a grown man's job. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna help them win some football games. And shout out to David Moa and I. We're gonna tear some shit up. I mean, they're gonna get us straight.
I love that. I love that right there.
Are you okay?
For anyone who's,
I think you're fired up.
Oh, I'm so fired up right now. I wish, I could go lift some weights or something. I'm so fired up right now. For anyone who thinks that's negative language or whatever, talking about what he's talking about going into training camp or whatever, that's the way football's supposed to be played. That is, our version of American Gladiators. It is not for the faint of heart. That's the way football and God intended it to be that way. You have to be physical. You have to, let me tell you just a quick, peel behind the back, right? I went to of course I only played in high school football, 5'10" lineman. But I had that edge to me. I had a huge Napoleon complex when I played football because that's the edge I needed because all my teammates were over 6'2".
Yeah, Dan's offensive line was like 6'3" and above, and he was the only one that was less than 6 foot.
Yeah, and it's like you have to have that edge to you where you can flip a switch where you go from the nice guy joking and everything else to on the field. Hey, dude, you're free. You are basically given a green light to physically assault people, and you're never going to be prosecuted. So you have to go in with that type of mentality. In my mind, Kobe had it. I think all the greats have had it. So it's like Tom Brady says, "Round, we don't play this damn game for Pro Bowls."
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, no, I remember, and that's the funniest part is that Dan really did, he really did have that Napoleon syndrome, like you said, when it came
they used to make fun of me and they joke with us, calling us a stock market. We'd have the right tackle, left or right guard, center. There's me at left guard, then the left tackle. Bastards! It was hilarious. So,
yeah, no, and it's funny. We do have film of Dan and Dago playing in high school. So let's see a little something.
Oh no,
this
you got some film. This is set up.
He didn't get to play at all. So at the last game of his senior year,
don't you dare put Rudy on.
They did this for him.
You son of a bitch.
Subject of a feature article in yesterday's student newspaper, The Observer. After toiling for
I played for 2 years, Frau. I was a starter for
Here
2
comes Dan.
years.
Here comes Dan.
For the audio listener, he is playing Rudy, trying to compare my high school career to that. I was about to say, I thought he played Edge. Oh my God, he's been acting that long? That was what's his name, right? Wow, what's his name? The guy who
John
did
Favreau. John
what?
Favreau.
Yeah, Favreau. Oh my God.
Yeah, he does play Edge. Rudy's a national institution that Joe Montana tried to ruin.
Yeah, but supposedly that guy is like the real one is a scumbag, isn't he? Allegedly.
No, he's gone back to Notre Dame. I mean, when I was in Notre Dame, everybody said that he was a good guy.
Oh, okay.
It's funny. Both him and the original and the actor Sean, whatever his name is, they've both gone to the games together. Rudy and
wow, that's funny.
Yeah, so
that's
it's actually
funny.
pretty funny that they've both gone. But Dan, good seeing your film on there.
You're
Definitely.
terrible. I won 2 championships and I played for 2 years, Frau.
Show me the 2 rings.
I'll go get it. It's over here.
No, you only have one.
Well, I lost the other one. That's in the move. So that's a shame.
So definitely some interesting stuff there, Dan. But talking about going back to Matlock. The guy is just and we got that sense from talking to him. He seemed like he could be the energy of this team. I mean, with Henley already, but this guy just
he looked fired up, dude.
his play is something else. I mean, he really he could be like a more high energy Morgan Fox in a sense. Like high energy because Morgan Fox is a little bit more quiet, more relaxed, more this, more that. This guy like looks like he chirps and he gets in there and he talks. So
look, versatility again. They're putting him at the edge. They put him on the edge in the previous play. Look at the speed, dude, to close on that quarterback. Like that's although the damn bastard was falling, but he looks like he's got some juice to him, dude.
Yeah, no, he really does, and I think this was a surprisingly good pick by the Chargers. I think this guy
and hands. Did you see that? The quick hands.
Yeah, so and that's New Mexico. Like
that's the only thing I guess. The level of competition, but I mean, Boise guys have, I'm sure, done well before, so it'll be interesting to see.
He also has two catching.
Look at the chase and the high motor, dude. For the audio listener, it looks like this guy has a high motor, so that's definitely
asked Kellen Moore that he brought it up to Kellen Moore, and that Kellen Moore got a chuckle out of it.
You remember when they put Melvin at tight end in a game?
No, they put him at fullback.
Oh, that's what it was. But he didn't get it. I remember that.
No, but it was because he kept on chirping and saying, "Coach, let me do it. Coach, let me do it." That he let him do it, and I think he didn't get it or whatever. And that
he got stopped. I think.
Yeah, Lynn was like, "All right, stop." Lynn was like, "Stop asking me to go in there." So that was pretty funny. But I gave this actually a B+. I think this guy. I think he really is going to come in. I think he's going to really help the defensive line. He's going to push. He's going to push for a position in there. I think he's really going to churn some heads, and I really do think that Matlock could end up turning some heads and playing very good on the defensive line. And remember, I know that the offense is going up against the defense and everything, but sometimes the defensive linemen talk to the offensive lineman and ask them, "Hey, what can I do better?" Like I know Joey sometimes does ask those guys. And I know some other guys ask each other like, "Hey, what should I do better when I go up against something like this?" And they'll be, "Oh, you do this, you do that." So this team, I mean, I know that some people are like, "Oh, the Chargers sometimes draft Boy Scouts and this and that," but the thing is, they help each other, they teach each other, and I feel like that's the thing. The Chargers get high character guys that are going to help out in the community, that are going to do some stuff, and they're also willing to help their teammates out and be good teammates. So I think that's another thing that the Chargers do go for when it comes to their guys' personalities. So definitely going to be interesting to see kind of how they do moving forward.
And they're going to have some serious depth, dude. Like they're going to have Sebastian Joseph Day. They have Morgan Fox. They're getting Austin Johnson back, I believe, off of his injury, right?
Yep.
Then they're getting
Tito.
Yeah, they're getting Tito back off his injury, right? Then you add this guy, and I don't know how.
That's another thing. That's another thing too. What are the Chargers going to do? Their two most positions right now with a lot of players is receiver and defensive lineman, and like defensive lineman, they could carry 6, and a receiver, it looks like they may carry 6 as well. I mean, it feels like it's a lot, but it just feels like there's going to be a lot more. They're going to have to carry a lot more players because of those two, because they're going to be their most stacked
they need at least for the D line. I won't speak for receivers, but D line for sure they need to have a high rotation of different guys getting in there. That way you can manage and make sure that the guys aren't getting fatigued and we're ready to go in the fourth quarter. And you're not going to have those, conditioning type issues in the fourth quarter where their hands on their hips are huffing and puffing, and the offense is licking their chops because they know they're about to run out this clock because they're gassed. So they need to correct what they didn't do last year. Last year, I don't think they had a very good rotation. They still had Jerry Tillery putting them in there. God knows why, but whatever, it's over. And then when you finally start getting,
he's a Raider.
Okay, who cares? The Raiders can take him. I don't care. Then I don't know why you call them the Raiders anymore. They're just the Chargers of Vegas, dude. Like they're taking all ex-Chargers for whatever reason. But anyway, then they finally started getting guys in there that was kind of making better dents and everything else defensively, and then you had the injury bug. So this year is going to be interesting if Matlock develops like hopefully he will. That would be interesting to see what they do with that much depth there, and hopefully for the better.
You know, it's interesting. This next pick, Max Dugan from TCU, the third player taken out of TCU by the Chargers. There was some level of frustration because fans thought, hey, we still need a tight end. I didn't think you were going to find a tight end there. Running back, you may have been able to find somebody here like the Chiefs did last year with Pacheco.
Yeah, Pacheco. Yeah.
But, and I understand the frustration, but at the same time, it's like I had already thought that the Chargers were going to take a quarterback. I didn't think Easton Stick was going to be the backup going in. I thought they were going to have him somebody challenge him. I thought it was going to be a veteran quarterback. I didn't think it was going to be a rookie quarterback. But it seems like it's going to. And
I said it makes sense. Why would you want to pay a backup 10 or 12 or whatever we were paying Chase Daniel, the NFL Network employee?
No, they were only paying him like 4 or 5. But I think it's going to be Easton versus Dugan for the number 2 spot, which is going to be interesting to see because I think both of them are. I mean, obviously Easton's been here. How do I want to put this? So I think Easton's been here, but I think Max Dugan is going to be able to come in. I think he's going to learn the playbook well. It seems like he's a smart guy. He understands. He picks it up well. That's what the Chargers liked about him. And they say he's competitive. And one NFC scout said, when shit hits the fan, this kid shows out. So that's going to be an interesting trade of his to see what happens and who takes the backup role. But that's why I asked Tom, I'm like, well, who's taking the backup role? He's like, well, why is it so interesting? I'm like, because usually you guys have had veterans. And he's like, well, Easton's a veteran. I'm like, yeah, but he's not like Kellen Clemens. He's not he's not Chase Daniel. Yeah, he's not
experience.
Exactly. So that's why I thought it was interesting. I gave it a D+, and not just because of the player. It's more about the situation. I thought they should have come up, grabbed a running back, grabbed something else maybe that could have helped him out.
He could have been there as an undrafted or what?
I think he could have been there as an undrafted guy. But I mean, again, I'm not a draft expert. I'm not anything like that. I'm just looking.
Neither are they, Frown. They just pretend to be.
Yeah. But real quick, before we let you guys go, I just wanted to go through 3. So there's a full list of the undrafted free agents that the Chargers signed. And let me see.
While you're saying that, by the way, when I saw you got drafted, what was the name of the guy on Coach JB's show who he'd always, was it Bryce Dugan or Max Dugan?
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah. I thought that same thing too. So here is, let me see if I can get this.
Could you imagine if it was actually him commenting? That would be hilarious.
Oh my God. Here's the full list of the Chargers undrafted free agents that they got. And as of right now, there's a couple of players that I think could end up making. I think one of these cornerbacks has a good chance of making the team. I just don't know which one it's going to be. But the guys I'm looking at are Pokey Wilson, receiver out of Florida State. I think he could end up making. I think he can end up being a very good player for them. The running backs, Tyler Huseman from North Dakota and Elijah Dotson from Northern Colorado. I think one of them has a chance of making this team. I'm just not sold on Josh Kelly. I'm not sold on Larry Roundtree. I just want to see if Isaiah Spiller can't get on the field, then what the hell's the point? So I think one of them will make it.
Well, we've talked about this on previous episodes. Like there's a reason why these guys aren't getting reps, or it's like, why are you hanging on to them if they're not even worthy to get reps and see what you have from them? Because you have to have these type of contingency plans. Because like Josh Kelly goes down, then you randomly try and scramble and throw a running back in there who hasn't gotten reps since the beginning, and it's like, it's just a whole cluster, dude. Not to use a more vulgar word. It's a whole cluster.
No, I agree. And then there was the last one, Gerard Clark. Yeah, so Gerard Clark is fast, he's athletic. And for a big man, that's surprisingly incredible to see. I'm not gonna go Vince Wilfork or anything like that because Vince was over 350 pounds.
He was
the guy's just athletic for his size. So I'm definitely interested to see. He's from Coastal Carolina. He just seems like the guy can move, he can shift, he can shed guys off. So I'm going to be really interested to see kind of how he performs, but I really do think that he has a good chance of making this team. But definitely some good stuff from the Chargers draft class. As a whole, I think I gave it a B as a whole. So we'll see what happens with it moving forward. But the Chargers were really excited about it. I mean, obviously they could have gone other positions. I still think they're weak at tight end. I still think they need another corner. They definitely need another safety. I know they're counting on JT Woods from last year, but how much can you really count on him? He didn't play all that much, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But we appreciate you guys so much for jumping on and listening to another episode of What's Up Bolts. Don't forget to check out everything else on the Compas on the Beat network. Don't forget to check out Compas on the Beat on compasonthebeatmerch.com. Don't forget to check out compasonthebeat.com. And don't forget to check out regular Compas on the Beat this week. Gilbert and I give up our draft hits and misses, who we thought had a good draft, who had a bad draft. Lamar Jackson's contract, was it worth waiting the whole year that he did to finally get the contract that he wanted? We discussed that. We also bring up we also talk about everything else in the world of football. Don't forget to check out House of Horns. Gilbert and Vic, the producer, have you guys covered on everything Rams over there. And Compas FC, we are back this week. We will be previewing the Champions League. We'll be talking about some of the matches right now with Arsenal winning and kind of getting back on a winning streak. Can they catch up to Man City? The fellas and I will discuss that coming up this week. But again, we appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget, go to Compas on the Beat YouTube and comment, say something positive about somebody, and you will be entered for the Fernando 1K birthday bash. So we appreciate you guys again so much for helping us get to 1K. Now let's get What's Up Bolts up to 1K. But we appreciate you guys so much. Have a great rest of your week. Dan and Dago and I are out. Be a compa, tell a compa. Let your compas know what the compas on the beat are doing. Thank you guys so much.